if you sell like a $25 item on your Shopify website right now, you pay one specific processing fee.
Right.
But if you sell that exact same item in person, handing it across the table to a customer, the fee structure is just entirely different.
It's completely different, yeah.
And for those of you dealing in like high volumes of lower priced items, the hidden math behind that physical swipe might actually be quietly eating into your margins without you even realizing it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is one of the most persistent blind spots for growing merchants. We spend immense resources optimizing online checkout funnels.
Oh, yeah, tweaking every button.
Exactly. Aggressively trying to shave pennies off our customer acquisition costs. Yet, we often just treat our physical point-of-sale systems as, well, an afterthought.
Totally.
It's like this black box of processing fees that we just sort of accept as the cost of doing business.
Okay, let's unpack this, because a massive portion of you listening use Shopify to run the digital side of your operation.
Right.
But the moment you decide to take your products into the physical world, whether that is a weekend market stall, a seasonal pop-up, or even your first brick-and-mortar location, you kind of just hit a wall.
You really do.
You are suddenly navigating this maze of conflicting advice, vaguely named software tiers, and hidden operational limits.
Oh, the hidden limits are the worst part.
Right. So for today's deep dive, we are pulling from a stack of very specific sources. We've got Shopify's current internal pricing pages, merchant community forum debates, and even some recent quarterly earnings call transcripts.
Great material.
Yeah, and our mission today is to completely demystify Shopify's free in-person selling software. We are going to figure out exactly what is actually free, explore the mechanical reality of its limitations, and this is the big one, pinpoint the exact moment it makes financial sense for you to pay for an upgrade.
That analytical approach is so crucial here, because when you bridge the gap between a digital storefront and a physical counter, making the wrong software choice doesn't just, cost you a monthly subscription fee.
Right, it's bigger than that.
Much bigger. It creates cascading operational failures. I'm talking inventory desyncs, accounting reconciliation nightmares, and bottlenecks at the register that actively frustrate your buyers.
And nobody wants that.
No. We have to strip away all the marketing jargon and really look at the underlying mechanics of how this software actually functions under pressure.
And to even start that analysis, I feel like we have to talk about what this software is actually called, which is, honestly, it's surprisingly difficult.
It really is a bit of a mess.
Yeah, like if you go onto the merchant forums right now or look up YouTube tutorials, everyone is talking about something called Shopify POS Lite.
Right, POS Lite.
But if you actually cross-reference that with the official Shopify pricing pages in our sources today, that name does not exist.
So, not anywhere.
It's like a C-Keep menu item at a restaurant or something.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Like everyone online is ordering a POS Lite, but you walk up to the official menu and you won't find it anywhere. So what is going on here? How are you supposed to evaluate a tool when the terminology is just constantly shifting under your feet?
What's fascinating here is that this isn't just like a quirky tech rebrand or some oversight by their documentation team. It is a highly deliberate positioning strategy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The label POS Lite is essentially a ghost name. It's a legacy term that just refuses to die in the community lexicon. But officially, Shopify has quietly repositioned this free tier under the specific phrase, casual in-person selling.
Casual in-person selling, I mean, that doesn't exactly scream enterprise-grade performance.
Exactly, and that is entirely by design.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. By actively shifting the language from light to casual in-person selling, they are aggressively managing merchant expectations regarding the software's operational feeling.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Because Lite sort of implies it is just a stripped-down version of their professional tool, right? Maybe it's just missing a few advanced analytics tabs or something.
Right, like a diet version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But casual, that defines the exact use case. It suggests weekend markets, occasional trunk shows, or highly temporary pop-ups. They are telling you precisely who this architecture is designed to support, right there in the nomenclature.
So for the merchant running those casual events, this tier is genuinely free, correct? Because, in the SaaS world, free usually comes heavily caveated with usage caps or like locked data exports.
Right, totally. But in this specific context, free means there is absolutely no standalone software subscription required to operate the point-of-sale interface.
Okay, wow.
You do not purchase this tier separately. If you are currently paying for a standard Shopify storefront plan, meaning Basic, Grow, Advanced, or Plan, plus this casual in-person selling capability is already baked into your architecture.
It's just there.
It is toggled on by default.
Okay, but I was looking closely at the plan breakdowns in our source documents, though, and there is one major architectural trap that merchants need to be aware of right out of the gate.
Ah, yes. You are referring to the $5 starter plan.
I am. The starter plan is such an interesting beast because it does technically include this casual in-person selling feature.
It does, yes.
You can log into the app and take physical payments, but there is this massive catch buried in the fine print. If you build your initial operation on that starter plan, you are literally blocked from upgrading to the paid POS Pro subscription later on.
It represents a structural dead end.
Yeah, a total dead end.
The starter plan is essentially, well, it's a social selling tool. It generates buy buttons and links, but it lacks the underlying database architecture of a full storefront.
Right.
And because that core foundation is missing, you can't just bolt POS Pro onto it. If your physical pop-up suddenly scales and you urgently need advanced register workflows, you are locked out.
Which would be a nightmare mid-event.
Absolute nightmare. You would have to first upgrade your entire digital infrastructure to the basic plan or higher, migrate your setup, and then initiate the POS Pro upgrade.
So much friction.
So much friction. So if you foresee any trajectory where you might need professional multi-staff register features, establishing your base on the basic plan is really the only way to keep your technical options open.
Okay, so assuming you are on the basic plan, the software subscription itself costs $0. But obviously, Shopify is not providing server space and app development out of the goodness of their hearts.
No, they're certainly not.
If the software interface is free, how are they actually monetizing my weekend market sales?
Through the exact same mechanism as every other payment gateway on the planet, really, the transaction swipe.
Oh, the swipe.
Yep. When you operate on the free casual tier, your ongoing operational costs are entirely derived from physical hardware purchases and the card processing fees routed through Shopify payments.
I was actually looking at the processing rate tables in our sources, and the baseline percentages seem pretty standard for the industry, but they are structured with a flat fee attached to every single transaction.
Yes, they are.
How heavily does that flat fee actually impact the bottom line?
Significantly more than most merchants model for, honestly. To give you the exact breakdown on the basic plan, your in-person card present rate is 2.6% plus a flat 10 cents per transaction.
Okay.
If your digital store is on the Grow plan, that in-person rate drops marginally to 2.5% plus 10 cents, and on Advanced, it falls to 2.4% plus 10 cents.
Here's where it gets really interesting. When you isolate those numbers and compare them, selling an item in person is actually cheaper than selling it online.
It is, yeah.
On the basic plan, that physical swipe is 2.6% plus 10 cents. But if that exact same customer sitting on their couch buys that exact same item through your website, you are hit with 2.9% plus 30 cents. Why the massive discrepancy? Because I think we always assume e-commerce is this hyper-efficient, frictionless model, yet the physical register swipe costs less.
Well, it all comes down to the mechanics of risk and liability within the credit card processing networks.
Okay, walk me through that.
So when a transaction happens in person, it is classified as card present. The physical EMV chip is read, or the customer's biometric data is authenticated via an Apple Pay or Google Pay tap.
Right, they're physically there.
Exactly. The cryptographic proof of that physical interaction means the risk of fraud is virtually zero.
Makes sense.
Conversely, online transactions are card not present. Anyone with a stolen string of numbers can attempt a purchase.
Right, much riskier.
Because the risk of chargebacks and systemic fraud is exponentially higher in a card not present environment, the processing networks levy a premium to cover that inherent liability.
Hey, that makes perfect sense from a risk modeling perspective. But I want to zero in on that flat 10-cent fee we mentioned earlier.
10 cents, yes.
I like to think of flat transaction fees like a mosquito.
A mosquito. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so if you are like a bespoke furniture maker selling a single dining table for $2,000, one 10-cent mosquito bite is statistically invisible. You do not feel it at all.
Sure, yeah.
But if you are a bakery or a craft supplier or, a small ticket vintage seller doing a massive volume of tiny transactions, 100 little mosquito bites will absolutely bleed your margins dry.
That is an incredibly accurate way to visualize it. The math scales very aggressively against low-ticket sellers.
Yeah.
Let's walk through a specific scenario outlined in the merchant forms we sourced.
Let's do it.
Imagine you are operating a busy weekend stall on the basic plan, and you process exactly $2,000 in gross credit card sales.
Okay, $2,000.
But your average order value, your AOV, is quite low. Let's say it sits right at $25 per transaction.
That's a lot of small sales.
Exactly. That means it required 80 separate individual swipes to reach that $2,000 revenue mark. All right, so doing the math on the percentage first, 2.6% of that total $2,000 is $52.
Correct. That is the baseline cost. But then you must account for the mosquito bites.
The mosquitoes.
You had 80 individual transactions, and each one triggers that flat 10-cent fee.
Right.
That adds an additional $8 to your processing burden, bringing your total cost to $60.
Which means my true effective processing rate isn't the 2.6% advertised on the pricing page. When you blend it all together, I am actually paying a flat 3.0% of my gross revenue just to take those payments.
Precisely. Because that flat fee does not scale with the size of the transaction, spreading it across a high volume of small tickets causes your effective rate to balloon.
It really does.
Now, to your earlier point about digital versus physical,
Yeah.
if you ran those exact same 80 transactions at a $25 AOV through your online store, subject to the 2.9% plus 30-cent rate, your total fee would skyrocket to $82.
Whoa, $82.
So the in-person environment remains definitively cheaper. But this mathematical reality really illustrates why intimately knowing your average order value is the only way to accurately forecast your true processing costs.
So what does this all mean? If I am a small ticket seller absorbing that 10-cent hit on every single swipe, this quote-unquote free software better be doing some serious heavy lifting in the background.
Right.
Like, what exact capabilities are we unlocking with these processing fees? Is it just a glorified calculator on an iPad?
No, it is substantially more sophisticated than that.
Okay, good.
The interface itself allows for highly customizable smart grids, so you can map out your highest velocity items for rapid tapping during a rush.
Oh, that's super helpful.
And you also gain native barcode scanning directly through your device's camera, which completely bypasses the need for expensive peripheral scanners if you were just starting out.
And the barrier to entry on the actual hardware side is practically non-existent now. I mean, we all know the nightmare of Bluetooth pairing a clunky third-party card reader that disconnects every 5 minutes. Ugh, the absolute worst.
But with Shopify's current setup, if you have like an iPhone XS or newer, or a certified modern Android device, you can utilize Tap to Pay directly on the phone's internal NFC chip.
Exactly.
The phone itself is the terminal, and even if you do want dedicated hardware to hand across a counter, their basic tap-and-chip reader is only $49.
But you know, the true architectural advantage of this system isn't the interface grid or the inexpensive hardware.
Yeah.
The paramount advantage is what it deliberately lacks, which is middleware.
Yes, we all know the absolute nightmare of middleware.
It's awful.
Anyone who has tried to operate a retail environment using two separate software systems knows the pain of third-party API keys.
Absolutely.
It's that clunky secondary software trying to bridge your register to your website, and it just always seems to fail during the Saturday afternoon rush.
Always. When you rely on third-party integration software, you are constantly battling API latency and batch syncing delays.
Yeah, the syncing is so slow.
It-
Exactly. If you sell an item in person, the third-party register sends a webhook to the middleware, which then pings your e-commerce platform to update the inventory.
Right.
In the 5 minutes it takes for that batch process to complete, an online customer might purchase that exact same now out-of-stock item. It creates massive race conditions. But by utilizing Shopify's native POS when you are already on their e-commerce architecture, you are operating on a single unified database.
It's the relief of finally having your left hand know exactly what your right hand is doing in real time.
Perfectly said.
Like if you are standing at a market and you sell the final unit of a limited edition jacket, your website instantly reflects that out-of-stock status.
Instantaneously.
There is no manual reconciliation spreadsheet you have to update at midnight. There is no accidental double selling. The physical register and the digital storefront are querying the exact same inventory pool. They're pulling from the exact same product catalog and feeding into the exact same customer data profile.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you begin to realize why Shopify is so highly motivated to provide this unified architecture for free.
Okay, tell me.
If we look at the projections from the National Retail Federation cited in our research, they forecast that by the year 2025, Total U.S. retail sales will reach somewhere between 5.42 and 5.48 trillion dollars.
Trillion with a T.
With a T. But here is the critical data point within that massive figure. Roughly 71% of all of that retail spending is projected to still happen in physical stores and offline channels.
Wow.
71%.
That completely shatters the prevailing tech narrative that, brick and mortar is obsolete and all commerce has permanently migrated to the cloud.
It really does.
Yeah.
The digital migration is vital, sure, but the physical counter remains the dominant revenue engine for the global economy.
Right.
Shopify understands this. By providing a free, flawlessly synced point-of-sale system, they are ensuring that as your purely digital business naturally matures and expands into that massive 71% offline market, you do not migrate to a competitor's ecosystem.
They want to keep you in the family.
Exactly. Seamless, real-time synchronization between offline foot traffic and online carts is the ultimate structural advantage for a modern retailer.
Okay, so we've established that the free tier has a brilliant single database architecture, and you can take payments natively on your phone.
Yes.
If it is this powerful, why would any merchant voluntarily take on the monthly overhead of the POS Pro upgrade?
That's the real question.
Right. We need to clearly define the operational ceiling of this free tier. Like, where do the mechanics actually start to break down?
Well, the breakdown occurs strictly at the operational level, not the foundational one.
Okay.
The free tier lacks a handful of specific workflows that high-volume, multi-location environments require to function efficiently.
Like what?
For instance, the free app lacks a native exchange workflow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If a customer approaches your counter wanting to swap a medium shirt for a large car, you cannot execute that as a single fluid transaction.
So what do?
You are forced to manually refund the original purchase back to their card and then ring up the new size as an entirely distinct sale.
Oh, man. Which is perfectly acceptable if you have, one customer browsing your booth.
Sure.
But if you have a line of 6 people staring at you while you frantically process a refund and then ask the customer to tap their card a second time,
Right.
that friction is agonizing.
It creates significant bottlenecks, yeah.
Definitely.
Furthermore, the free tier restricts cross-location returns, meaning a customer cannot buy an item at your downtown store and return it at your uptown pop-up.
Ah, okay.
There is also no native interface for BOPO PI's buy online, pickup in-store directly within the POS app, which is a massive omni-channel requirement today.
Right. Everyone expects that now.
Exactly. You also lack the ability to trigger automatic, complex cart-level discounts, forcing your staff to calculate them manually. And just from a hardware perspective, the free tier only provides a standard 1-year warranty on equipment, whereas Pro extends it to 2 years.
Okay, those missing features definitely sound like frustrating friction points. But looking through the source documentation, there is one specific limitation that jumped out at me as a massive operational red flag.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
The staffing ceiling.
Yep, that's the one.
On the basic Shopify plan, the free POS tier allows for exactly 0 extra staff accounts. If you want to add distinct cashiers, you need what Shopify calls POS-only staff accounts, and those are entirely locked behind the Pro upgrade wall.
You are interpreting the documentation correctly.
Yeah.
Your ability to add distinct staff profiles to the point-of-sale interface on the lower tiers is intrinsically bound to the global staff limits of your overarching Shopify plan. On the basic plan, that limit is 0 additional users.
I really have to push back on the reality of this setup because in practice, this sounds like an absolute accounting and loss prevention nightmare.
It really can be.
Think about the reality of a busy weekend event, right? I'm on the basic plan. I hired 2 college students to help me manage the foot traffic.
Okay, standard setup.
Because I cannot generate individual logins for them, I literally have to hand them my master owner login and force them to share my personal administrative PIN to access the register.
Right.
If 3 different people are processing cash transactions out of the exact same physical till, all logged in under the exact same user profile, you have completely destroyed your audit trail.
Completely.
If the cash drawer is short by $50 at closing time, you have 0 per cashier sales attribution. You cannot track who processed what.
This raises an important question for merchants evaluating their tech stack. You must differentiate between mere feature limits and critical operational limits.
Ooh, I like that distinction.
Yeah, a founder running a solo weekend stall may never care about advanced analytics or printing custom-branded receipts.
Right.
But the very first time you have a temporary employee handling cash, and you realize Your software provides zero accountability for that drawer.
Hmm.
The free tier has structurally failed you.
Exactly.
The technical debt isn't in the software features, it is in your human resources and loss prevention.
So, when a merchant inevitably collides with that operational wall, whether it is the agonizingly slow refund then re-ring process, or the glaring security risk of a shared master PINE, what is the actual protocol?
Oh.
Do you immediately assume the $89 a month cost for POS Pro, or do you start migrating to free competitors?
Let's look at the financial layout first. If you remain within the Shopify ecosystem, upgrading to POS Pro will cost you $89 per location per month.
Okay.
It drops to $67 if you commit to annual billing. And it is crucial to understand that this is a per-location toggle, not an account-wide mandate.
Wait, really?
Yeah, if you operate 3 retail footprints, but only your flagship store experiences the high volume that requires Pro features, you only activate and pay that $89 for the flagship location. The others remain on the free tier.
Oh, that's actually really good to know. But still, $89 a month is a tangible chunk of operating capital for a small business.
It is.
Especially when you look at the wider market, Square offers a highly capable free register app that charges 2.6% plus 15 cents. SumUp has a free tier that identically matches Shopify's rate of 2.6% plus 10 cents. Why wouldn't a merchant just run an iPad with Square next to their merchandise?
Because as isolated, standalone registers, Square, and SumUp are phenomenally engineered tools. But here is the critical variable that brings us right back to our earlier point. If your product catalog, your intricate inventory counts, and your core customer data already live inside Shopify's database to power your e-commerce site, Shopify POS wins by default.
Because if you introduce Square, you instantly recreate the middleware problem.
Exactly. If you process a free in-person transaction through Square while operating a Shopify storefront, you've instantly fractured your architecture into 2 disconnected inventory pools. You will now spend hours every week manually reconciling stock levels, or you'll be forced to pay for a third-party thinking software that, as we discussed, is highly vulnerable to API latency and race conditions.
Right.
In most scenarios, paying $89 for POS Pro is mathematically cheaper than the labor cost of untangling 2 disparate databases.
That makes total sense. And looking at a specific quote in our sources from Shopify's president, Harley Finkelstein, during a Q3 2022 earnings call, it really recontextualizes who that $89 upgrade is actually targeting.
That quote is fascinating.
He explicitly noted that massive enterprise-level plus merchants accounted for 35% of all POS Pro sales, which was up significantly from 14% the year prior.
That specific data point is incredibly revealing regarding their software development roadmap.
Yeah.
It indicates that the primary growth engine for POS Pro is large, complex, multi-location retailers. Pro is not just a premium tier. It is enterprise-grade software, disguised as an accessible add-on.
Which means if you are a smaller merchant listening to this, you need to radically shift your mindset. If you are operating on the free casual tier, you are not, settling for less.
No.
You are not using a broken or artificially crippled product. You are utilizing the exact right, highly optimized tool built for a streamlined operation. The enterprise guys pay for Pro because they are solving enterprise-level problems.
Precisely. Your decision to activate that upgrade should be strictly reactive, never proactive.
Reactive, right.
Do not read the POS Pro feature list and think, oh, I should probably have all those shiny omni-channel tools just in case. You should wait for exact, quantifiable pain points to manifest.
Give me the exact triggers then. What should a merchant be looking for this weekend?
You upgrade when manual exchanges are actively causing a queue to form, resulting in abandoned sales.
Okay.
You upgrade when your pop-up gets unexpectedly busy, and you must hire past your plan's staff limit, making PIN sharing a genuine financial risk.
Yep, the audit trail.
Or you upgrade when you open a permanent second location where you cannot physically be present to oversee the cash drawer yourself.
Right.
You must let a recurring, expensive operational problem dictate when you deploy that $89. Until that friction becomes a weekly reality, the free tier is precisely where your business belongs.
So, to summarize what we've unpacked across these sources today, Shopify POS Lite is simply a legacy ghost name for a remarkably powerful single database architecture officially called casual in-person selling.
Yes.
It is a massive strategic asset because it entirely eliminates the API latency and race conditions caused by clunky integration software. However, its true financial weight is hidden within your average order value due to that 10-cent flat processing fee, the mosquito bite.
The mosquito bite, exactly.
And its ultimate ceiling is not necessarily a lack of omni-channel features, but rather the severe loss prevention risks associated with staffing limitations and shared pins.
Navigating this requires a cold, highly analytical assessment of how your physical operation actually functions today, rather than how you aspire for it to function a year from now.
Exactly. Before you ever click that $89 upgrade button, you need to rigorously analyze your own weekly transaction flow. Calculate the impact of that flat fee against your average ticket size, and be brutally honest about the accountability of your staffing structure.
As we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a broader strategic concept to mull over. Returning to that massive NRF statistic we explored earlier,
The 71%.
the 71%. If 71% of all retail spending is still occurring in the physical world offline, why do we historically treat our in-person point-of-sale software as merely a secondary add-on to our digital e-commerce platforms?
Oh, that's a great point.
What if we completely flip that architectural perspective? How might it radically change the way you structure your inventory, allocate your capital, and staff your operation? If you started treating your digital website as merely an extension of your physical store rather than the other way around.
It totally flips the script on modern retail strategy. We spend all our time obsessing over building a digital utopia, but at the end of the day, the physical counter is still where the heaviest volume is processed. Keep an eye on those 10-cent mosquitoes. Guard your master PIN closely, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.